what happens in chapter 2 of The Henchman. I read chapter 1 last week. Now we're going to be doing chapter 2. It's called One Last Hunt. But before we get to that, go into the description, click on the link for a free epic fantasy ebook. Download that right from the link there. You can also go to the link to buy my brand new book, just launched last week, Shield of the King, epic YA fantasy, gritty and adventure and action. Check it out. All right. So let's get to it. Welcome back to Great Stories Change the World. This is the YouTube channel where a fantasy science fiction author, that's me, goes over different stories and talks about storytelling because I believe that great stories do change the world. And I talk about movies and we talk about books and TV shows. And today we're going to be getting into chapter 2 of a new story that I'm doing right here on the YouTube channel called The Henchman. And go back to the first episode if you haven't seen it, because that's where chapter 1 is. And then I'm going to read chapter 2 here in a couple minutes. But first, I'm going to give a quick update on what I've been watching. So first of all, I got a recommendation from a friend of mine to watch a show called The Old Man. It's on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, you can check it out there. And it's got Jeff Bridges in it and John Lithgow, and it's got Alia Shawkat. I think that's how you say her name. Now, we all know John Lithgow. We all know Jeff Bridges. If you don't, look them up. You'll recognize their faces. Alia was in a great show that I loved called Arrested Development. It was kind of a sitcom, but it was a great show. Check out this, especially the first couple seasons are brilliant. So check that out if you haven't. But she's been in some kind of indie movies here and there. She's a very interesting actress, but she plays kind of the daughter role. I'm giving away a little bit of a spoiler there, but she plays a very interesting part in this. And Jeff Bridges is, again, he is a old man. He's an old man, but he's not the only one as you get into more of the story. So there's 7 episodes, and you kind of don't know what it's about at first, and then it really sort of gets more into like CIA and spy stuff. And that really wasn't what I was expecting, and I wasn't really crazy about the ending. I didn't, it was kind of a cliffhanger. I'm trying not to give spoilers. It was kind of a cliffhanger, and I don't mind cliffhangers, but I needed it to kind of come to a better resolution, really. There's some great characters in it. Of course, the acting by Lithgow and Bridges is amazing. So check it out if you like it. It's decent quality. It's pretty good. It's not great. It's a little predictable here and there. But check it out. I really liked it. I'm also watching the Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and it's got Percy in it, Annabeth and Grover. This is pretty much the first book, The Lightning Thief, and they're being pretty faithful to the actual book. And so my kids are loving it because especially my oldest and my youngest, my middle one, not as much, but they all love the Percy Jackson books. They've read most of them, if not all of them. So check that out. Disney Plus is doing a great job with it. I think it's better than the movie that they did, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, whenever it was. It was an okay movie, but it wasn't great. So those are that's some stuff I've been watching and checking out and maybe recommending to you if you like that sort of stuff. All right. Now, also remember my book released this week, Shield of the King, released on Tuesday, January 23rd. And you can check it out on Amazon. You can check it out anywhere books are sold. And I'm going to have a link in the description, along with the link for the free ebook in the description. So if you want to check that out, it's getting great reviews. It's being called a page turner. It's been getting great reviews by people other than my mom and my friends and other writing friends. I'm getting a lot of great reviews from like the US Review of Books and some really up and coming, very legitimate book review places that's putting it out there to libraries and stuff like that. So For all that to say, you should check it out if you like that sort of stuff. It's only in hardcover right now, so but you can get it from Amazon. It's a great book. So let's get into chapter 2. Now, last week I talked a little bit about the story, and here's where you should go back and watch the first one if you haven't. But just to kind of catch us up, Mr. Grimm is a henchman, but he's close to 50 and he's looking to retire because it's a young man's game. This is fantasy, it's gritty, and he's looking to retire and quit. So he goes to his boss, Tomas, and he tells his boss he wants to quit. He's ready to quit. He's trained up the guys to replace him. And Lord Tomas tells him, hey, guess what? I got one last thing for you to do. My son has been taken. I need you to find my son and see who did it. He doesn't know who did it. So that's chapter 1. Mr. Grimm is on one last mission before he gets to retire. Okay. Not the most original story in the world, but I'm kind of putting in some organized crime with some fantasy elements, and it's within the same world as Shield of the King and some of my other books, okay, with the Living Stone and Caleb and all those sort of things. So it's all within the same world in the city of Landon. So without further ado, here is chapter 2 of The Henchman. Chapter 2, One Last Hunt. I left Tomas and began to descend the stairwell. One floor down, a shadow moved from the side hallway. I tensed and reached for my hammer, bone wrecker, but it wasn't there. Once I faced the shadow, it came closer, and I got a clearer view. A woman. Zoe, I said, Tomas's wife and Lucas's mother. She stepped more into the light, and her cheeks had reddened from crying. A few years younger than Tomas, Zoe was a tall woman with slight features and short, thick hair bobbing past her ears. She wore an expensive green dress. Her eyes spoke of pain, desperation. She approached and stopped an arm's length away. Did you hear? I nodded and met her gaze. How did this happen? Were you with him? Zoe grimaced. No, if I had, I'd be dead too, or captured. I left him for the afternoon with 2 men, and when I returned, they were dead and Lucas gone. What 2 men? I don't remember their names, she said. You'll have to ask Benizzo. Oh, I will. I was already on my way to visit him when she approached me. Zoe paused and sniffed. You're going to find him, aren't you? I'll try, I said. Why wouldn't I? But I knew what she would say. I thought you might not want to get involved, she said, because I frowned. That was a long time ago. Yea, she averted her eyes but took a step closer. But at the same time, not so long. I could smell her now, a familiar and sweet scent. Long enough, I said, and we said we'd never speak of it. I know. I reached up with my hand and lifted her chin to look at me. Listen, he's a boy, Tomas's boy. I'll find him. Zoe's smile didn't reach her eyes. Yes, our son. I sighed. Stay close, stay safe. This might not be over yet. Leaving her there with one last look, I turned and made my way down the next flight of stairs. On the second floor, I arrived on the landing and went down to the hallway to my right. The second door was Benizzo's office. I didn't knock. I pushed the door and entered. Benizzo stood over a map on a table. He was taller than me, but not as thick, although he was strong enough. He was quick with the short sword at his belt. Smart, Benizzo would make a good replacement for me. His shorter dark hair was spiked straight up with some sort of oil. It didn't move when he stood straight upon my entrance. He glared until he saw me. Then he relaxed. Ah, Benizzo said, it's you. My glare deepened when I came to stand across from him. Who did you have protecting the boy? His brow creased. Two men I trusted, Doya and Nico. Good friends. They were beaten badly, their throats cut by a dagger. No one heard anything. No one saw anything. I grunted. Sounds like an inside job. Maybe, Benicio said, but who? That's your job, I said. Root out the manger. He growled and pointed at the map. Me? I gotta go look for the little brat. I'm trying to think of places someone could hide him. I shook my head. No, I'm going out to look, try to catch their trail. You stay here. Why? First, Tomas asked me to do it. Second, I don't need a break-in map. Benicio narrowed his eyes. They killed my boys. I want Adam. This is why I've been training you, I said, for this, to take over for me, be the one in charge, security, all of it. You stay here and I'll go. Benicio stared at me for a long moment. Fine, I'll start questioning more, but you let me know the tick you find something. Got it. Benicio snorted and grinned at me. I thought you were going to retire today. I bared my teeth. I tried. Then this Bosar crit with Lucas happened. I nodded. But after this, I'm out. Benicio gave a little chuckle. You really gonna get out and play with your wood? It's called carpentry, I said. And yes, build things, fix boats, whatever. And leave all this? Benicio raised his arms to the side. Yes, I said. Benicio shook his head. You like your nice clothes too much, your nice apartment. You'll be out of coin and back in 6-9 days, maybe less. Don't think so, I said. I had lost the taste for it, the violence, the blood, the manipulation of others for money, hurting regular people for lords like Tomas or Lorcan. Lorcan had been worse. If Benicio and I had been in the palace the night those from the north had killed a couple dozen thugs, some of them tough men, Lorcan might have survived, although I had seen the grisly aftermath of that night. Perhaps not. Benicio shrugged. We'll see, I guess. I'll check in later, I said. I need to get moving if I want to find a trail. The hunter goes on the prowl again, Benicio smiled. I kind of wish I could see it, if this to be your last one. You've seen enough. I turned and left the room. I knew I had, at least. After another flight of stairs, I marched through the common room and out of the palace. Over the next few minutes, I traveled south through Landon, making sure to buy a stick of whale jerky at a street vendor. With the snack in my pocket, I arrived at a blocky apartment building made of tan stone close to the center of the city. I climbed more stairs to the top floor where I had a large suite of rooms. Undoing the 3 locks on the thick wooden door, I opened it and stepped inside. Within the next second, a grass fox leapt from behind a chair and gave a roar, which was more like a squeak. I feigned like I was scared. Whoa, Thunderpaws, got me that time. Thunderpaws, my grass fox, sat back on his haunches and gave a satisfied smile. The grass fox had a round belly and a thin tail. He wiggled his extremely large ears at me. Grass foxes were plentiful on the Antaran plains to the north. Not as many could survive here in the city, unless a human took care of one. I guess you get a treat, I said. I took the whale jerky from my pocket, and those ears flapped even more. Snapping off a piece, I bent, fed it to Thunderpaws, and scratched him on top of the head. Straightening, I stared at a back storage room. Striding forward required an active will, and I soon stood in the doorway. Objects from the years littered different shelves, although nothing much had value, just memories. Under the window, a wooden trunk waited, called to me. I sighed and moved to the trunk. I knelt and opened the top. The hammer lay there on old dirty rags, a wooden handle attached to an irregular gray stone. The stone had blotches of blood stains. Bone wrecker. Thunderpaws padded to my side and whined. Ignoring the grass fox, I extended my hand into the trunk, grabbed the wooden handle, and lifted the hammer. Bone wrecker was a companion, protector. It felt at home in my hand. Hello, old friend, I said to the hammer. One last hunt, just one. The hammer didn't answer, never did, but I knew it was ready. Well, that was it. That was chapter 2. You let me know what you thought of chapter 2, One Last Hunt. Put it in the comments, and remember to go to the description and click on some of those links, get a free ebook, or maybe check out my new book that I just launched. Let me know what you think happens next in the story of the Henchman. I got more guests coming up. We're going to go over some movies, so stay tuned. All right, peace.